Welcome to Podcast Shorts, a shorter version of the podcast you know and love. I'm Alex, and this episode begins our fall television preview. That's right, we're going to be spotlighting some shows that are worth your time in the coming fall season and beyond. First up, in this episode, we're going to spotlight comedies, and I have 3 shows that you may find worthwhile. First up is Blackish. Blackish is a comedy that premiered on ABC about 3 years ago and has had a very good run. The premise behind Blackish is that it takes a modern African-American family that is middle class and suburban and kind of highlights the stereotypes and social issues that they have to deal with in modern America. This show has done a great job of highlighting and even revealing at points certain aspects of our social climate that are going on right now, especially with all the tense relations between race, all of the social issues that are going on in our country right now. But it does this in a very lighthearted kind of way. It does a really good job of spotlighting not only an African-American perspective, but it also highlights other perspectives as well. It makes a joke out of it. It makes it fun, but also a lot of times it can make you think about certain things. And honestly, the best comedy is the type of comedy that is reflective, funny, but also has you leaving thinking about what it was that was the topic of that particular comedic act. Blackish does a great job of this. It's even being recognized by the Emmys. It's nominated for a few Emmys, and by the time this posts, it may have even won a couple. So Blackish, which premieres on ABC October the 3rd, which is a Thursday coming up here in a few weeks. Next up, number 2 is South Park. And South Park has already premiered. Actually, the rest of the shows that we're spotlighting for this comedy edition of the fall television preview have already premiered. South Park is entering its 21st season, which is an accomplishment in and of itself. It's great that it has lasted this long. And very similar to Blackish, South Park kind of offers a mirror to our social, economic situation here in the USA anyway. And it has not stopped that trend with its first episode, which premiered September 13th, which was, I believe, a Wednesday this past week. It really dealt with some issues that occurred throughout the summer and most recently in Charlottesville. It was a great episode. It was funny, and if the rest of the season is any indication of the direction that they're going with this new season, I think it's going to be pretty fun and pretty funny. So definitely check out South Park every Wednesday on Comedy Central. Now, the third and final spotlight show for the fall television preview comedy edition will be The Orville. This premiered this past Sunday, and it's going to start regularly appearing on Thursdays, starting September the 21st, which is coming up. This show got a lot of very mixed reviews. It is by Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy and American Dad and a bunch of other comedies. He's had a very hit and miss track record, especially with film, but normally his comedic shows are pretty funny. Me personally, I get some of the negative reviews that I have seen or heard, but there's just something about this show that kind of tickles my fantasy sci-fi interest. I like the fact that it's kind of Star Trek light. I like that it has some comedic elements and actually presents a little bit more action. I'm interested in seeing where this show goes. It was a little bit lighter on the comedy than what you would expect from Seth MacFarlane. There was a lot more serious tone to it. It wasn't straight Family Guy, but I found that refreshing, and I enjoyed that. I think if you have any interest in the sci-fi fantasy type shows, if you like any shows like Battlestar Galactica or Stargate, Star Wars, Star Trek, what have you, don't go into it looking for that, because it's not a space drama. It's more of a space dramedy. And if you go into it with your expectations low and just enjoy it for what it is, it's actually pretty decent. And I think it's one of the shows that I personally am going to continue watching to see where it goes. And I recommend that you should give it a try as well. All right, well, that will do it for this edition of Podcast Shorts. This was the Fall TV Preview, Edition 1, Comedy. We will be back very soon with another edition. Until next time, I will see you then.